Hello, everyone. Happy Monday. I trust you all have a wonderful weekend and enjoying your day. Monday is a happy day. How are you, Andrea?
Well, I'm learning how to look at Mondays the way you and Edit do. I thought of y'all this morning and I thought, well, them two are happy. It's Monday, so I just have to make a decision to be happy.
Yes, yes. It starts by making the decision.
That's right. So y'all
You
just
have to
have to
make the
rub off
decision.
on me.
Yes, yes. And did you get to do your meditation this morning, exercising, affirmations?
Yes, I did fall asleep during my meditation, so I want to do that over.
Nice,
But I did do
nice.
my affirmations and I got some reading in and a little bit of exercise, moving around some. Um, but yes, it was a great morning, and I'm not doing it every day, but I have also started writing out the Serenity chapter in As a Man
Oh,
Thinketh. And
yes,
that might be, when we do go through that book, that might be something that we might want to do.
yes,
That is part of the program, the studies that I go through.
yes.
And it's basically an exercise in teaching yourself to remain calm, controlling your thoughts, not allowing anxiety and things like that. It's just another way of keeping peace and harmony in your life. And
Okay.
so, yeah, we can talk about that when we do that book. But
Oh, yeah.
I'm already wanting to implement that because there's a lot going on, and
Mhm,
I just want to make sure that I keep my spirit harmonious and not move over into any kind of anxious, uh,
mhm.
state of mind. So I thought I would
Yeah,
just go ahead and start writing
yeah.
that down. So
Yeah,
anyway, it's exciting.
yeah, I have heard actually a few people who have done that. I have read As a Man Thinketh, but I have not written it out for, a few days and several times. So definitely, I look forward to that when we get to that book. Sounds like that might be the next book we'll go to because you keep mentioning that book.
It's so hard to choose because then somebody else will mention something. I was listening to my study and videos last night, and Bob had said something about the power of awareness, or
Oh,
one of those books by Wallace Wattles. I can't remember, and I was like,
yeah.
oh, I want to go back to that. It's just you can't read them all at the same time, but there's such good
Yeah.
information in all of them. But I do like
Yes.
I do like
As a Man
I
Thinketh.
think it because of the scripture.
Yes.
It points people, they can relate from the scripture to this teaching of learning your mind and all. It kind of completes a circle.
Yes.
So I do like that. So we can
Yes. Yes, I
get
think
into
that,
that one
like I
day.
said, yes, some people like to relate to this information with the scripture, and they are drawn to that, and that's why I'm drawn to this actually. And when I read also As a Man Thinketh, yeah, I was blown away also how he bring it to the scripture, and and some people are just straight to the science part, which is great. So and it's beautiful to have these teachers to be able to guide us, our higher self, and based on how our mind accepted. So I really
Yeah,
liked
and
it.
one of the great things is that all the books that I've read, they compare it to scripture. They bring out
Yeah.
scriptures in these books.
Yes.
And so, yeah, I have
Yeah.
some ideas of doing that myself in the future.
I love that. I love that. I can't wait. I'm super excited for
I
you.
think it's important. There's so many great principles in the book, in the Bible, that these just continue, just
Yeah.
explain further. And so I think that's real important, especially for the church crowd, the
Hmm.
Christians, see that it's not
Yeah.
a cult. We're not
Yeah.
a cult.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true. And this is, like I say before, this has nothing to do with, specific religion. This has to do with how our mind works. And, science is proving to us daily and with evidence that, we need to have a positive mind. And, and however that we are going to practice that, and let's do that. And especially if some of us are brought up with church and scriptures, and they really what relate to us is the scripture part, and we understand it that way, and it pulls us. But there is no way, like I say last time, there is no way we can progress in life without renewing our mind. That's it. We cannot get away from it, and that's why it's there for us also. Be transformed by the renewal of your mind. So you're absolutely right, and I would love to learn you someday. Pulling out more scripture and teach us for sure.
Yeah, I'm going to work on that. I'm going to do
Yes,
that. That's going to be a great help to a lot of people.
yes, yes. Unlock our prison
Yeah.
mind.
Hmm.
Unlock our prison mind. That's what I call it. That's the the biggest prison we could ever be. Actually, being in prison of our own mind.
Oh, it
Yeah,
is. It is
yeah.
really the biggest
It is.
prison that exists.
Yes, it is. But I'm all for people who's willing to help us unlock our mind and help us to understand a little bit more and more and more about ourselves, and especially when they relate it to something that I agree with, like you say the scripture, and make us our mind comfortable and happy. So yeah. But today, if we could pick up where we left off, it was a great reading. I enjoyed reading this book this morning.
Yeah.
I would like to start with what I have highlighted.
Okay.
So he says, how the subconscious controls all function of the body. While you are awake or sound asleep upon your bed, the ceaseless, tireless action of your subconscious mind controls all vital function of your body without the help of your conscious mind. For example, while you are asleep, your heart continues to beat, your lungs do not rest in the process of inhalation and exhalation, whereby your blood absorbs fresh air goes on just the same as when you are awake. Your subconscious controls your digestive process and glandular secretion, as well as the other mysterious operation of your body. The hair on your face continues to grow, whether you are asleep or awake. Your eyes, ears, and other senses are active during sleep. For instance, many of our great scientists have received answers to perplexed problems while they were asleep. They saw the answers in a dream. And I have heard this so many times. Whenever you want to get an answer for your questions, your heart desires actually to, before you go to sleep, to request your subconscious mind with that questions, um, and which is this these scientists have discovered their answers by doing that the same way. And I have practiced that, and I did get some answers, and actually some of them were kind of like I didn't know how, because I don't interpret my own dreams, so I really didn't understand. But eventually now I understand their answers actually. So it is good to ask before we go to sleep actually, because we do get the answers.
And these scientists that do that, they would actually, even in the middle of the day, get into a meditative state and ask those questions. And I can't remember who it was. Somebody really famous that we all have heard of, but he would do that in the middle of the day, and he would stay put. He would stay put until he got his answer. So the subconscious mind is very powerful. We just have
Yeah,
to learn how to use it.
I heard actually Napoleon Hill,
Hmm.
um, that he I heard on his speech actually, he wanted to figure out what to name Think and Grow Rich actually. And from his speech, I think I recall that he said he wrote out like 5 titles, and it did not click. 500 titles, it did not click. And the producer told him like, you only have one night, so this is your last night. If you don't tell me, I'm just going to go ahead and use one of the other title. And Napoleon Hill was not satisfied with that, so he requested that night his subconscious mind to get an answer, and he did. So he, on his speech, that he called the producer and told him at 2 o'clock in the morning, the name is the book is Think and Grow Rich. So he said he had that dream, that name. So he said on, on his lecture that he wasted so many times trying to come up with his own by himself without actually communicating with his own self, with his higher self. And so we have the name of Think and Grow Rich because of actually his subconscious mind, because he requested before he fell asleep. Other than that, the name would have been something else. So it was an
I had
interesting.
not heard that story. That's great.
Yeah, it was a lecture that I listened to him on here from YouTube actually. Yeah, it was very interesting to me when I heard about that too, actually. Napoleon Hill himself spoke on that. Yeah. And down in line, he says, oftentimes your conscious mind interfere with normal rhythm of the heart, lungs, and function of the stomach, intenseness by worry, anxiety, fear, and depression. These pattern of thoughts interfere with harmonious function of your subconscious mind. When mentally disturbed, the best procedure is to let go, relax, and still the wheels of your thought process. So, our subconscious mind is all harmonious, is all peace, is all healthy. But our conscious mind is the one interferes from us experiencing those things because of worries and anxieties. So we need to be able to work with our conscious minds that he been telling us. That's where our business relies on actually. Your conscious seeks to preserve your life and restore you to health at all costs. So, I'm sorry, your subconscious seeks to preserve your life and restore you to health at all costs. And this is why actually, why is it so difficult for us to adapt to new habits? Because subconscious mind is, wants to stop us. It wants to protect us.
Yes, it does.
And he says at the bottom, if you completely entrusted yourself to its wonder working power, you will be entirely restored to health.
I lost you where you're at exactly, or
Okay. I'm on where it says how to get the subconscious to work for you.
okay, yes. Sorry.
You have anything highlighted on there?
I do. Since I was lost, I don't know if you've already read it.
I haven't read
Did you
anything
get
on
the
that
point?
one
Oh, okay,
actually.
great. Okay. The first thing to realize is your subconscious mind is always working. It is active night and day, whether you act upon it or not. Your subconscious is the builder of your body, but you cannot consciously perceive or hear that inner silent process. Your business is with your conscious mind and not your subconscious mind. Just keep your conscious mind busy with the expectation of the best, and make sure the thoughts you habitually think are based on whatsoever things are lovely, true, just, and of good report. And that's scripture there too. Begin now to take care of your conscious mind, knowing in your heart and soul that your subconscious mind is always expressing, reproducing, and manifesting according to your habitual thinking.
Mm-hmm. And he says, I also highlight the bottom part. Remember, just as water takes the shape of the pipe it flows through, the life principle in you flows through you according to the nature of your thoughts. And at the bottom of the next page, I have I highlighted, which is also the scripture. It is done unto you as you believe.
I love that.
Yes.
And it is. So I like a couple of sentences up. It says, think of it, that your subconscious, think of it as a living intelligence, a lovely companion on the way.
Yes. Oh, yes, I have that too, actually.
Firmly believe it is continually flowing through you, inspiring and prospering you. And it is done unto you as you believe. Yes, I love that. But I mean, it's believe good or bad. Whether you believe good or bad, it is done unto you. So
Yeah, it takes the form of our thought pretty much. So let's just start planting good thought. And I have highlighted on the next page.
yeah, this is an exciting story. This is
Oh,
one
you
of
want
my
to share
favorite
that one?
examples. Yeah, I would
Yeah.
love to. This is
Okay,
one
go.
of the examples where he talks about this. This is a documented case where this woman actually got her eyesight back before her physical, the physical things in her eye. In other words, her eyes were dead. Before
Yes.
she was physically healed, she could see because of her belief. So
Yes.
here we go. There's this well-known, duly authenticated case of Madame Bière of France, recorded in the archives of the medical department of Lourdes, France. She was blind. The optic nerves were atrophied and useless. Atrophied and useless. She visited Lourdes and had what she termed a miraculous healing. Ruth Cranston, a Protestant young lady who investigated and wrote about the healings at Lourdes, writes about Madame Bière as follows. At Lourdes, she regained her sight incredibly, with the optic nerves still lifeless and useless, as several doctors could testify after repeated examinations. A month later, upon re-examination, it was found that the seeing mechanism had been restored to normal. But at first, so far as medical examination could tell, she was seeing with dead eyes. And so now eventually everything was healed. But the part that's so exciting is that it's proved medically that she was seeing with dead eyes. The power of the subconscious mind, we absolutely just have not grasped yet.
Yes.
I love that story. I mean,
Yeah.
that's proof of a miracle. You can't say somebody's faking or anything like that. I mean,
Yeah.
it's documented. That's
Mm-hmm.
exciting. Her subconscious mind responded accordingly, releasing the ever-present healing forces.
Mm-hmm.
Subconscious mind, which created the eye, can certainly bring a dead nerve back to life.
Mm-hmm.
What the creative principle created, it can recreate. According to your belief, it is done unto you.
Yep. And I like this one where he says, how to convey the idea of perfect health to your subconscious mind. And he posted, the perfection of God is now being expressed through me. The idea of perfect health is now filling my subconscious mind. The image God has of me is a perfect image, and my subconscious recreate mind recreates my body in perfect accordance with the perfect image held in mind of God. This minister, which was also having I think he was having a lung cancer. So he used this prayer to heal himself. So this minister had a remarkable healing. This is a simple, easy way to convey the idea of perfect health to your subconscious mind. So he advised us, if we choose so, to also use that prayer, just like the minister did to heal himself from lung cancer. And he also have on down in line where he says, another wonderful way to convey the idea of health to your subconscious is through discipline or scientific imagination. I told a man who was suffering from functional paralysis to make a vivid picture of himself walking around in his office, touching the desk, answering the telephone, and doing all the things he ordinarily would do if he were healed. I explained to him that this idea and mental picture of perfect health would be accepted by his subconscious mind. He lived the role, actually felt himself back in the office. He knew that he was giving his subconscious mind something definite to work upon. His subconscious mind was a film upon which the picture was impressed. One day, after several weeks of frequent conditions of the mind with this mental picture, the telephone rang by rearranged rearrangement and kept ringing while his wife and nurse were out. See how powerful that is? So the guy was practicing this image of him being healthy, him being doing what he usually do in his when he's healthy, and the phone rang when somebody was not there. So for him to be able to take that action, so not only the subconscious mind is actually healing him, and the subconscious mind is also responding the outside for him to be able to perform that. It's so
That's what's
amazing.
so exciting is that it brings about things in your life.
Yes.
It's like something may not, okay, take for example, the house that I've been believing for 2 years. Nobody's walked up and handed me the keys,
Yes.
but the ways for it to come about
Yes.
are coming about. And that's the same way here. He's
Yes.
been envisioning that in his mind and living that out in his mind. And there it was. The situation just played itself out so that
Yes.
he could then take action.
Yes.
He had to get up and walk to the phone, right?
Yes. Yes. And I'm glad you say that actually, because um, most of the time we might be presented information that we've been seeking, or or we've been thinking like, oh, I wish I could do this, or I wish I could do that. And when it's present to us, we get nervous about it because we are uncertain. But again, if you've been praying for it, if you have a desire, if you've been having the desire, when the answer is coming, yes, you don't know how it's going to happen, but just go ahead and take the action, respond to the calling. And that's what that's what we have to do, because I mean, come on, let's be honest, the calling is present to you right in your face, but it's not going to force you to take it. You have to know what you're praying for. You have to know what you are asking. And I noticed that about us. We ask, but at the same time, when the answer comes, and we're like, oh, is that for me? We just not unsure. So let's be sure. Let's start believing. Let's move by faith.
Yes, I mean, we've all been bumping around in life without any direction and
Yeah.
just thinking that we're accomplishing things in an orderly way to go toward our goal, but it's not. When you do get organized, you realize that's one thing the 90-day program has shown me, that where I thought that I was doing visualization every day, I wasn't.
Yes.
Because now that I've got to mark it down on a piece of paper,
Yes.
I'm seeing that where I didn't even recognize before, there were some things, some steps that I wasn't taking every single day, because it's a process. It's a process that we
Yes.
learn how to follow. And
Yes.
it must be organized. It can't be
Yes.
disorganized. You're not going to
Yes.
hit and miss is going to get you hit and miss success. Yeah, you
Yes.
might find success, but are you going to stay there?
Yes.
I mean, it's a process.
Yeah. Um, it's interesting, but I always have like the hardest lesson that it's a physical lessons, which is like, I work out I've been working out since I was a little child, because my brother actually forced me to start working out when I was little, and I'm glad he did, because now it become a habit like for a long time, and I cannot go without exercising for longer than 2 weeks. But what happened is, let's say I start a serious program. So I was going through this insanity exercise for, yeah. So,
And
but
that is insanity.
it is insanity. So what happened is, so what I notice is that if I don't continue until I finish, if I stop and restart, my body's sore. My body's sore. So that's a physical experience. And it is, and I have always say like, why would I do this to myself? So like you say, and once we start, it needs to continue until that set date that you say, okay, this is the date for the cutoff. And of course you don't stop there, then you pick up something else, a higher goal. But because of that being a physical, it showed me, it hurts. But when it's mental, how can we tell? How can we tell other than our result, which is takes our
Oh, that's
result.
good. That is so good.
Yeah, so it's so easy to feel that because it's painful, but the other part of it, it's like it's not that obvious, but it is more damaging. It is more damaging than the body sore. So I always think about that actually. And so let's move on to our book. I have highlighted where it says, let me see, I think, okay, so I didn't finish that part. One day, after several weeks of a frequent condition of the mind with this mental picture, the telephone rang by prearrangement and kept ringing while his wife and nurse were out. The telephone was about 12 feet away, but nevertheless, he managed to answer it. He was healed at that hour. The healing power of his subconscious mind responded to his mental imagery, and the healing followed.
He
Just
took
like
action. He stepped
took,
out on faith.
yes, he took action. And he says that this man had a mental block which prevented impulses from the brain reaching his legs. Therefore, he said he could not walk. When he shifted his attention to the healing power within him, the power flowed through his focus, attention, enabling him to walk. And there's another scripture, which is Matthew 21:22. Whatsoever ye shall ask in prayer, believing ye shall receive. Believing, believing,
Believing.
believing. And I would like to read just a couple of the ideas worth remembering, and we'll be finalizing this chapter. Whatever you impressed on your subconscious mind is expressed on a screen of space as condition, experience, and events. Therefore, you should carefully watch all ideas and thoughts entering in your subconscious mind. All frustration is due to unfulfilled desire. If you dwell on obstacles, delays, and difficulties, your subconscious mind responds accordingly, and you are blocking your own good. The life principle will flow through your harmoniously if you consciously affirm, I believe that the subconscious power which gave me this desire is now fulfilling it through me. This dissolves all conflict. I love that. So, and then final point, keep your conscious mind busy with expression of the best, and your subconscious will faithfully reproduce your habitual thinking. Today, I shared actually a link that I mentioned about last week, that about how to program our subconscious, well, our mind. And he explains really good, actually, the how we need to listen to our affirmations while we sleep. So I trust people would be able to get a chance to check it out and be able to implement that, because I personally, if I wasn't practicing it, doing it at night, I am going to make sure I do that, because the way he explained it, he say, when we do that at night, when we fall asleep, he say all that information actually drops down to the subconscious mind. Conscious mind disappears. All that information we're listening while we sleep, it drops down to our subconscious mind. And that's what we're trying to program, because the way he point out is 95% of our actions we are taking is based on our subconscious mind, not what our conscious mind is. Our conscious mind is only 5%. But most of the time, we think and we want to do, we say we want to do by our 5%, but this is impossible. So let's work on reprogramming our subconscious mind, which is our deeper mind, and let's start building a beautiful life.
Yay!
All right. And have a beautiful day. And I'm done what I have to say. You got anything you want to say to them before we say goodbye?
Just one more thing. I just wanted to, that last point right there, because this is the way we should all be praying, and this is what we should be focusing on, because everybody has a challenge in their life.
Yes.
It says, imagine the happy ending or solution to your problem. Listen to this. Feel the thrill of accomplishment, and what you imagine and feel will be accepted by your subconscious mind and bring it to pass. So what that is saying is, go ahead and get into the feeling like it already occurred. Imagine what you feel like, because your subconscious accepts it like it already occurred, and it comes about. So you want to envision and hold that picture. Remember, we're putting new pictures in our mind. So hold that picture in your mind and feel it in your heart, and be grateful for what has already taken place.
Yes.
That's where you start seeing results.
Yes. And let's go let's start with what we really want. What is it like you really, really, really want? It could be health, it could be spiritual, or it could be financial. So let's go with what we really, really want. And for you, it's a house. So, when we go for after what we really, really want, and at least it makes the job easier if there is any job that needs to be done.
Well, see, when you go with what you really, really want, it's not hard to work at passion for.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, right? You understand? If you're just going for something like something that's not passionate, something that you feel you need to do, I mean, you need to have those goals. But when you are focusing on your want, your C goal, it's a want, because it's so easy to get into the passion of it.
Yes.
Easier to believe for something that you want rather than something that you feel like you have to do. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. That was beautifully said. Thank you very much for sharing your wisdom, and have a beautiful day. And thank you so much.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.